Until late evening, every Pakistani on this planet was saying, rain, rain, stay away. They knew what was at stake. Winner goes through to the finals. A washed out game would have meant Sri Lanka go through. However, if they look at the scorecard after the rain break, Pakistan suddenly found a couple of magical gears and they've given themselves a fantastic chance of making it through to the finals. You're watching Cricbuzz Live. My name is Manish Batavia. Joy Bhattacharjya and Dinesh Karthik in the house. It was seeming like a slightly sleepy day, but that six-wicket partnership woke up everybody. 122 after they came back from that rain break.
Those two experienced pros, Mohammed Rizwan and Iftikhar Ahmed, you can see why their value is worth its weight in gold for Pakistan. If you remember closely, when we had discussed post the Pakistan game, who are the two batsmen to watch out for, we had discussed about Rizwan and Iftikhar for two reasons. A, their experience. B, they play spin very well. Yeah. And it wasn't easy conditions at that stage. Vellalage bowling beautifully. Tikshana picked up the last wicket of Nawaz just before the rain break. And from there on, when they came back, they upped a gear. Yes, they played some lovely shots. I also felt Shanaka just missed a trick in between there. But credit where credit is due. And I think both those batters stitched up a really good partnership together.
Yes, what a solid six-wicket partnership it was. It was Pakistan's first 100-plus run partnership for the sixth wicket since January 2018. The last one was 105 between Haris Sohail and Shadab Khan against New Zealand at Wellington. This is a partnership that's come in just at the right time when one thought Pakistan was perhaps losing their way, not just in this match but otherwise as well.
No, absolutely. And I think the way Nawaz got out, Tikshana hadn't been bowling that well. He got the wicket. Suddenly, at 27.4 overs, it looked dire for them. Yeah. 130 for 5. Will they play out the overs? One more wicket and you're looking at, you're looking at a tail. You're looking at somebody to come back. I totally agree with you. My problem was, I think they went back. They had, I think Dhananjay was bowling okay. They bought Vellalage from the other end. But then I think 32nd or 33rd over, they bought Madhushan in. And one over, he went for a lot of runs. And I think at that point, the tension just broke. Yep. And ever since then, I think Pakistan have been on the ascendant. They've been more defensive cricket. They've been from fantastic shots. But in games like this, once the momentum changes, it's very difficult to pull it back in the next 3
Yes, it was that free hit followed by a couple of wides and that big monster straight six from Ifti Chacha. Such power in those forehands from Chacha ji.
Absolutely. Just the kind of power he generates. He sits back, just goes deep in his crease and has got good long levers. So that over was a critical over when Madhushan, probably not the best choice at that point of time. I think Shanaka wasn't very sure should he go Dhananjay De Silva because he felt that probably they'll line up the off-spinner being two right-handers, toss the ball to Madhushan. These are the kind of decisions when you take. Sometimes it can backfire. Doesn't have too many variations. We saw how well Patirana bowled even at the death, but Madhushan consistently going for runs throughout the second spell and the third spell when he bowled. All things said and done, I thought Iftikhar and Rizwan paced themselves really well, especially Rizwan. He was very aggressive. He's always a good player of the sweep and a very strong player on the leg side. And he made use of these conditions. Again, he's not somebody who's going to score you too much at the back end of an inning, but through the mid phase, because he plays the pick-up pull and the leg side shots well, he'll always be very effective in those middle overs between 11 and 40.
Yes, 86 of 73 for Mohammed Rizwan, 6 fours and 2 sixes. Now, by cricket standards, they say he's a short man. I shouldn't be saying it, but yeah, they say he's a short man. How does someone who doesn't look big generate this kind of power for those big shots?
It's the bat swing. Most importantly, the base that you set yourself up with. These
Good
two
person
things.
you asked that
Exactly.
These two things help you with getting the timing and power behind the ball. All your power comes from how good a base you set. You look at boxers, you look at baseballers. When the balance is good and the base is strong, you can generate a lot of power starting from the ground forces and it goes into your core. And when you're able to twist and get the bat in the right position when it connects the ball, that's where you get optimal power. And Rizwan, seeing how he sets himself up, slightly par side on once he finishes that trigger movement, gets into that great position to always hit over the leg side very, very well. Those two sixes, one of the fast bowler and one of Vellalage, was two shots which went quite the distance, 80 meters plus. So it tells you that the man has a good sense of timing and the power comes through from that.
Yes, he can be solid when he wants. He can go for the big ones when he wants.
And again, it's important that he scored runs again today because, see, again, Pakistan, we tend to forget that Pakistan's really had one bad match. That's against us. Okay. And to right the ship, 5 changes, most of them necessitated by injury. So you're wondering what's happening to this team, where are they going? Then they're 130 for 5. The mood is, everyone's looking and saying, will they survive? What's going to happen now? Sri Lanka on the ascendant, they've just got a wicket. Suddenly the rain comes, in 15 minutes they come back and the momentum changes.
Yep.
And this momentum change is good for them, not just for this game, but I feel for the season and for the World Cup coming, it's an important game for them.
Both of you know the kind of impact someone like an Andre Russell has had in the IPL. Most Indian fans know what he's all about. There's something about these big men who can just use those forearms and clear any rope, any boundary on this planet. Such power, Iftikhar Ahmed.
Absolutely. And power, and you were talking about a 100-run stand. The one reason why they haven't had 100-run stands is because Babar Azam, Fakhar Zaman and Imanul Haq have been so dominant up front. That's the reason they haven't had too many of these partnerships. But if you noticed in the first match itself, again, when Pakistan went in a spot of trouble, Ifti comes to around. And again, when Babar Azam slows down, Ifti accelerates, exactly, that's his time. Ifti time is overs 40 to 50 normally, or if there's a truncated match, the last 7, 8, 10 overs. That's his game.
What does a bowling captain do when such a big hitting man is in the zone? It's scary to just run into bowl to him.
As a fast bowler, it can be intimidating, especially if bowling at death is not your strength. You got to vary not only the pace, but also the line, importantly for Iftikhar, because he's very good down the ground on the leg side. So you got to take it away from him and try to take it away from the bat. And that's how he got that. And that's how Patirana got that dismissal caught at mid-off as well. So the further you take it out, the better chances you have with an Iftikhar Ahmed. Again, having said that, it's very easily said, but to be accurate when you bowl outside the off stump is an art in itself, and the best of bowlers do it very, very well, especially at the depth.
One of the other secrets that I just found out 5 seconds ago, why is Mohammed Rizwan so good at hitting the ball so well down the order? It's the date he's born on. It's the 1st of June. You might know a thing or two about that. Another 1st June born here in the studio.
Absolutely.
It feels good to be sharing a birthday with Mr. Mohammed Rizwan.
A few years apart though. I don't know how
think
many.
so. Nobody knows how long, but yeah, it is a case of...
Okay, his official age here is 31 years. That's all I'm saying, sir.
It looks a fair age, which is a rarity coming from that part of the world.
We will not get into Ifti's age. Let's pull up the Sri Lankan bowling card. 42 overs is all they had. At one stage, they look like they will be in control. 130 for 5. We thought maybe 190. They look like they could collapse and finish and get bundled up very early. DK, should Shanaka have done something else, something different?
If I had to hold a grievance against him for how he operated his bowling resources today, it will be that why didn't he give an over to Asalanka? Because he's bowled so well, he has the wicket-taking knack, which he saw last game, just an over in between. I know there were 2 right-handers. Look at it as a wicket-taking opportunity. It could go about 12, 14 runs, but just the fact that it was a wicket-taking opportunity at that point when 2 right-handers were batting is the gamble that he could have tried for, but you can't hold that against him. And the only other thing is, should he have brought Madhushan back or held on to Dhananjaya De Silva for another over at that stage?
A run rate of 8.6 after the rain break, so they scored 122 in 14.2. Viewers might want to know, did the pitch freshen up? Do things change? Is it tougher for bowlers to grip the ball?
It is a matter of how the mind works. When they went in at the break at 27 overs, they were 120 some odd for 2. When they came in, they had to bat 15 overs. If they bat the next 4-5 overs without losing a wicket, you're effectively seeing just the last 10 overs to be played out, and you have a Shadab Khan behind as well. Then you start getting on with the game and playing a lot more shots with a lot more freedom, and that's what we saw. They didn't take any undue chances, just the odd risk here and there for the first 3-4 overs. A couple of sixes hit by Rizwan, but other than that, they didn't do anything fancy. The moment they got into a comfort zone where they believed they wouldn't get all out, they hit the foot on the accelerator and in many ways just push forward.
The other happy story for Pakistan is their 23-year-old opener Abdullah Shafiq. A very eye-catching half-century it was, wasn't it? It took his while, but then looked like he was telling the world that he belongs on the big stage.
No, again, and classic batsman, and thanks again, DK called it out again that he should be opening and not Mohammad Haris, that he's more of a natural opener out there. And I think he played the classical shots, not too many people got runs around him. But at the front of the evenings, if it's Ifti and Rizwan at the end, if Shafiq had given them that base, they wouldn't have got there. Also, again, very pleasing on the offside. When he hits it on the outside, it's really, really pleasing. I want to go back and talk about one thing there. Psychologically, every over that's dropped, okay, after the rain break happened, is Pakistan's advantage. Because exactly what he said, they can go harder and harder.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the lesser overs you bring, the harder they can go at it. And I think the one other thing is that if you're looking at, the bowling that they had, while the pitch may not have been that helpful change, one of the things that happened was the ball was skidding on after going. So you'll see a lot of boundaries where the guy was maybe 3 feet, 4 feet away, but when the ball is falling, it was just gaining pace and going off. So that would have helped Pakistan a little bit, added another 4, 5, 10 runs to their kitty.
Abdullah Shafiq looked good enough for a longer run at the top?
Interesting choice. He is obviously a thoroughbred opener, done well for Lahore Qalandars, more importantly done very well in test cricket as well. Whether they're going to look at him as the opener for the future, that is a big question. Post the World Cup, for sure, there'll be another player coming in called Saim Ayub, who's doing very well right now in CPL as we speak. There are options there. But for the moment, you get the feeling it'll be a toss-up between Abdullah Shafiq and Imam to start with. The backup opener will be Fakhar Zaman. Mohammad Aris more in the middle order. That's how things look like it's shaping up.
The other story in that first innings was what happened to Tikshana. There was a big leg before wicket shout. They didn't go for the review. He seemed to have pulled his hamstring a little bit. He was off the field, saw the replay on the big screen, and he was really, really cross with himself and the captain. And he came back to bowl. He was limping. Should they have taken that risk? And B, the captain can't be blamed for that kind of a review call, can he?
Definitely not. It looked on impact like it was going down. As a wicketkeeper, you feel like it is going down, though the DRS tends to tells you a different story for the moment. But that's okay. I don't think that decision would have been such a deal breaker at that point of time, in the sense that it was already well into the last few overs. Now, from Tikshana's point of view, we have to see how fast he recovers from this, because I really doubt he'll be able to play the final even if Sri Lanka qualifies. Now the biggest question is how long he needs a break, because it did look a little serious when he was on his way up going back to the dressing room. It didn't look nice. They literally had to lift him and drag him because he couldn't lift his feet, which tells me that the hamstring has taken obviously a little bit of a hit. We got to wait and see, and the doctors will assess him in the next couple of hours to see where he stands in the near future.
Should that decision to go back onto the field rest on the player only, or does the management say, listen, no, you're not going?
So I'll tell you, physios normally will tell you that you're not going to make it any worse now. So if you can bowl through the pain, you can bowl through the pain. It was 1 over, right?
Yeah.
So physios, if the physio thinks that you can do further damage by going back, he normally will not send you back. Not for a league match, not in a situation like that when somebody else can bowl. But the physio says, okay, get some spray, you can bowl this over, but after that you're off, because this is a problem that you have. So it's a physio's call. Generally the captain will listen to the physio.
The other issue that we spoke about was Pakistan's middle order worries against a team that likes to take a lot of wickets in the middle overs. Looks like that question has been answered. They've done all right. And today, Velalage, 9 overs, 40 for 1. Not as penetrative, clearly. Not every day will be the same. But Velalage, 9 overs, 40 for 1. What do you make of that spell?
Very good spell again by Velalage. He asked a lot of questions to the Pakistani batters. Almost got Abdullah Shafiq LBW, which could have been his second wicket, but an absolute beauty to get Babar Azam. He was very tight with the way he bowled, didn't try too much. He was the most effective bowler in terms of picking up wickets. He looked like he could pick up a wicket any point of time, especially in the first spell of his. As the ball got older and maybe slightly wet, it wasn't the same, but he really looked good. Looks a solid guy. Even when he gets hit for a 6, his comeback delivery, the next one, seems to be one that is very sure of what he wants to do, which is a good sign for a fast bowler, how you react when you get hit. He looks a very sorted cricketer. Pakistan, you wouldn't be saying this if one of either Rizwan or Iftikhar Ahmed had gotten out, because they lost 4 wickets in a heap. So I don't think the middle order worries are necessarily answered for today, but a great effort from Rizwan and Iftikhar helped them from the dumps from this game.
I have another point on this. Just remember one thing. What has happened in the last 13 matches, or actually 14 matches?
113?
No, Sri Lanka have bowled people out. Okay.
All 14 occasions.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what does that mean? That means that if you bowl people out, means the last 3, 4, 5 overs are normally being bowled to tail-enders.
Yep.
Okay, because you've already taken that many wickets. Today you had a situation where at 5 they had a stand, they had set batsmen coming into those last 5 overs. Yep. So those same bowlers who might have looked more effective, and remember, this is still not Sri Lanka's first line attack. Yep. You have Hasaranga missing, a lot of the fast bowlers missing, Dushmanta Chamira missing. So That is the one thing, that moment this attack is now faced, this attack who's always taken wickets, is now faced not by tail-enders, but by guys who are batting and are now set batsmen, things are different. And that's the one thing you'll have to watch, the difference between set batsmen being there in the last 5 overs and the difference between tail-enders.
252 is what Pakistan managed, and according to DLS, Sri Lanka will have to score 252. That is the calculation that's in front of us. 252 in 42. Pakistan have the edge, or can Sri Lanka do it?
Most definitely Pakistan have the edge. The only problem for Pakistan would be the ball getting wet, which in turn is a bit like having dew on the ball, and then it comes on a little nicely. It happened a bit towards the end. So the key aspect of today for Pakistan would be how they're able to strike with the new ball. If they're able to pick up a couple of wickets in the first 10 and go on to take another couple in the first 20, which will mean 4 wickets in the first 20, then they are very much in the running to have a very comfortable game. Otherwise, they have to bowl really well through the middle for them to have a chance.
Also, the way they've ended this innings, clearly the momentum is with Pakistan. So psychologically, a huge boost for this team that was perhaps down in the dumps after that loss against India.
After the dumps against India, also at 130 for 5, they were down in the dumps.
Yep.
So I think, yes, it's a great recovery. It's a great situation to be in. And if they get wickets early, their tails will be up. If they don't, it'll be interesting again because, Nawaz hadn't had a match. He's just coming back. Shadab Khan hasn't bowled particularly well. So there'll be questions asked. Does Ifti bowl? Off spinners may not be that effective. Ball might not take any turn. Lots of things could happen. They need wickets up front.
Nawaz making a comeback to the Pakistan 11. Where would he ideally want to bowl? Because the conditions are damp. I'm not sure if there's any other help available for the Pakistani bowlers. But where would you bowl this man?
With the way the Pakistan attack is, definitely post the power play. After the 12th over is when you'll see a Mohammad Nawaz coming in. This pitch, if it had been its original version, like how it was when it started, you'd have found a lot more turn. But now with the wet ball and the pitch slightly under lights, maybe not so much turn. So it'll be interesting to see how a Nawaz progresses with his bowling, and I say that only because he's not a big turner of the ball. If there is little in the pitch, he can make use of it, but looks like with the wet ball, that could be a challenge.
The Met Department has just sent in some bad news. There is an 80% chance of rain exactly 21 minutes from now. So at 10 p.m., there is an 80% chance of rain. Given that that's the case, should that alter or influence Sri Lanka's batting approach at all?
Absolutely. If the fact that rain will come in will in turn mean that the score is reduced, and it'll be slightly absurd for Pakistan. It could be, I don't know what, it could be at least 7.5 that they're chasing. The one good thing is Pakistan have Sri Lanka has beaten Pakistan in the last Asia Cup final. They'll take some confidence from that and hope that they can do something special. They defended a target in this one. It's a completely different one, but the shorter format should suit a lot of their batters as well.
I don't think we've had any India-Pakistan Asia Cup finals, have we? Never. It's never happened in the 39-year history of the Asia Cup. Will it happen? This innings shall determine who the two finalists, the second finalist will be. India await their opponents for that big final that will be played on Sunday. Will it be Pakistan? Will it be Sri Lanka? They're looking for 252. Regardless of whatever happens, DK, Bhattacharjya and I will be back with Cricbuzz Live at the end of this match. But before that, you will see us on Cricbuzz Combox. Before I say goodbye, quick prediction for the power play. 9 overs, that is.
9 overs, okay. 56.
Let's start.
60.
They have to go.
They've got to go big. I'm going to say 70 for 4.
Ooh.
We will see.
Clearly, you want an India-Pak final.
Not too bad, is it? 70 for 4 is my prediction. You can share yours as well on Twitter. Make sure you join us on Cricbuzz Combox at the 15 over mark. Bye for now.